Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Jace here, and this is part 5 of this series of the production of this track called Hope. Let me tell you how I just spent the past 45 minutes of my time. I turned up the volume on this track, on this instrument right here, and I heard distortion. Checked through the plugin itself, listened to every possible parameter inside of there to figure out what's causing this distortion. It only occurred when I turned the volume up. Not a clip on the output, but just, good strong volume. It was distorting. I go on the forums, I'm looking at Native Instruments and everything else. Only to look over, I have 3 amplifiers that are juicing these amps right here, these my speakers, and one of them was off. I was pushing too much signal without amplification, and then anyway, long story short, that's 45 minutes of my life I'll never get back, and it just cost you 4 minutes of yours, and I'm sorry. Let's get onto this track. I'm still working on the string line today, and I'm going to be splurging some more ideas for the strings, trying some different things to see what might blend with this piano track, and not only just blend, but actually create changes of scene, changes in energy and light and everything inside of here. I talk about this track, and one of the big things is that is the power of the music, the instrumentation itself, to drive an emotion inside of this. A big part of this track is the tension and release. It's really strong in this track. So I'm going to take note of what the strings can do to drive that, and so I'm going to stick to that script that I just showed you, and I'm going to try some more string lines, and I'm even going to pick out some places to do it. So I've already got take 1, 2, 3. Okay, why don't we do this? Get these right. Okay. Also, you know what? Let me just go ahead and run this. So in my pursuit of figuring out what went wrong here with this piano distortion, I was pulling up volumes and stuff, and I've got to... And then let me attach a sustain onto the end of this. So this repeats. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to push the intensity level of this phrase on the second round. And to give you an idea of what I've already started with, I'll play you the take one strings. That's not strings, that's a pad. And I think it's working perfectly for what it needs to do. That doesn't need any help. It's got a little bit of white noise in the high end of it too, in the pad. It's kind of creating space and depth inside of there. And if I use a little bit of creative mixing on that, that's even going to get more lush. It'd be easy to overdo, so we don't want to do that. Now here's where we come into the second part of these strings coming in. And I'm just going to continue that to its natural kind of okay. Sorry about that. I don't wake you today. All right, I just wanted to wrap that line out. Let's see what I've got also coming out in take one, just to refresh my memory. These are rough sketches. They're not even the right sampled VSTs that I'm going to be using. These are first draft tries at this. But I came up with something a little bit better in take two, I think. And this is going to really demonstrate to you how powerful of a difference just changing a string arrangement can make. Basically, we rolled through this and we used kind of like basic root chords and some sus added sus notes in there. Here on take two, you're going to see a different kind of approach, and what I think is this brings a little bit of light into this, and it presents a little bit of contrast, because this is got a very intense emotional feeling to it. And then I add the low notes in here to this. Now listen when those come in. things are not so bad. There's hope. It's kind of like a suspended moment, you know, where it almost feels like a decision and the tension is being made. At least that's what the music is trying to tell me. I'm not thinking these things and trying to fuse this into the music. I'm trying things and it sticks, and that's what the music is saying. It kind of works in reverse. It's really, really how it works with me. So that is going to be right now a keeper. And what's really going to make the final decision on this is when I move these instruments into their respective true virtual instruments that I'm going to use to voice these things. It's going to be everything, because right now this just sounds so heavy-handed, even if I pull it down. And if I go in here and check the modulation, if I even pull the modulation down, that's the intensity of the playing. And I'm going to want these, whatever virtual instruments I choose, I'm going to want these to surge. Okay, this is just basic string writing 101. It's going to breathe life into this scene. It's probably going to surge to here and come back down. I'm just listening to the strings breathe. And that would want to go way out. And this would want to surge in. I'm pushing energy here. You can roughly get the idea. And this would, of course, be scored with crescendos. A little bit of notation about what form of approach for this. I think I'm going to try mutes, sordinos for these, and really push them down out of the way, so that when they're there, they're kind of like air in a room. You know, the air gets thin, it gets hard to breathe. If the air gets thick, you get hot and stifled. You know what I mean? It's a real balance here, you know, to this whole thing. So I'm going to go on through here a little bit further and see. Now this, what I would want to do in a situation like this is, what I'm trying to create here is sense like light coming through a window, maybe like a gray light, like, you know, on a twilight day when it's like really high clouds and it's like silvery outside. It's not sun. It's actually very bright, but it's not sunlight bright. It's silver bright, you know. So what I want to try to create here is a transparency. See, you'll notice that I'm occupying the same tonal frequency range as the piano is right now here, and this can get dicey. See, when I come down to this and I close that harmony out, you can hear it really becomes enveloping. If I open it back up, Now, the other important part of this is the way the playing's being done. I'm coming in there pretty strong. But this is a situation where I'm most likely going to want to choose a non-vibrato style of performance here on this. So it's already starting to sound better. So let me go to... I'm going to go to breath here. In the Cinesamples library, the vibrato amount of it is controlled by breath. So if I set it to maximum, listen to this. Watch what happens when I pull that down to bottom it out. Let me solo this so you can really hear this. This is non-vibrato. Okay. This is full vibrato. Some people say vibrato, some people say vibrato. Usually it's English people that say vibrato, which is kind of cool. Listen. That's with. Now let me pull it out. Let me solo it. Solo it with. I really want you to hear this. Okay, and without. See that? It's parked. It's like level coming at you like this. Whereas when it's got the full vibrato, it's coming now. It takes on a richer sheen. This is sheen. This is opacity. This is presence. Okay? The more vibrato that I add into that string line, the more present it's going to become, the more scintillating it's going to become. Whereas here, it's almost like... Do you ever see somebody, or maybe it's happened to you, it happens to me all the time, staring off into space, and you can tell that they're just not there. They're either, they're caught in something, and that's the way this kind of feels to me. It's like, you're just kind of relaxing, taking a breath, and disappearing into this. Keep rolling. And that's a little wrong notes there. This is normal. That's a strong indicator that I don't know how I want to come out of that line. I don't want to play wrong notes, that's for sure. Okay. Okay, I just want to go up into the piano line here and have a look around. Okay, let's see. I'm listening to something.
just listening to this in my head for a moment.
Let me go back to the piano line. How about, let me think. Just gonna mess around here with the cello for a second. So it is possible to do a solo cello line through there if I want. Let's go ahead and jump on that for a second and get those wrong notes out of there before we are paralyzed in the ears. Might be nice to let that pressure off anyways. See, when I'm writing string lines, I start off with ensemble patches because I can do all the voice leading as I hear it live as it's happening in my head. Okay, this is kind of important. Whereas I'm going to be separating out the individual parts, and this is critical to string writing, by the way. Very critical to string writing. You want to be able to do that. It's going to be a little loud. Let's pull those modulations down. First, we need a region. Pull those modulations down. Okay. There's just some open sounding mechanisms here. Where'd that cut out on me? I think I have an indicator of a sustain in here. That's why. Sorry. A lot of stuff happening at once here, guys. A lot of stuff happening at once. Okay, there's some weird chord changes coming in there that I threw in to mix things up a little bit. I'm just going to make note of this. What's causing it? I don't know. Okay, all right. This is good stuff. Okay. So this is a place for decisions. There's a lot of decisions here that one could make. There's a lot of different things that'll work for this. I could do pizzicatos and the strings. You know, I could show you real quick. Why not? If that's what I wanted to do, I could lighten it up that way, and I'd still get a nice resonant bass sound. Don't talk it, do it. can do it a lot of different ways. I could bring in some woodwinds here, and I could trickle them up and down, waver them a little bit. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that on hold. This is the way it kind of works, is I get the idea of what's going to happen here, flesh in some ideas. Sometimes it goes the whole way out to the end because it's so amazingly clear that I get what I need to do. But here, on this particular thing, what I'm going to do is refocus my attention to sculpting these strings now for what their set in stone playing is actually going to be. And that will give us something to listen to in part 6 of this series. So I'm going to work on that, develop those, and then we'll be able to hear the before and the after, where I went from this idea all the way out to the polished strings that I'm going to be using. At least polished to the point where you shouldn't use the word polish. Developed to the point where they're going to be ready for export to stems and then mix. So, okay, that's part 5. Moving on. I'll see you in part 6.